You gotta have fun with whatever it is that you do. I don't take myself so seriously. You know what I mean?
That's, oh my God.
Okay, it's not about me.
That's called wisdom.
Listen.
Bishop T.D. Jakes refers to it as the spirit of prosperity. Pastor Bill Winston, the blessing. In the church, divine favor. Perhaps in pop culture, the it factor. No matter what word we use to describe it, my next guest embodies it. Nicole Renee Harris. What is it? Let's look in.
In with us a while. A look at where we're going, a look at where we've been, a view of all that's happening with some of our good friends, a chance for conversation, a reason for a smile, a step in a new direction, a look in with us a while.
If you know me, you know that I often speak on the promise of the 4 squares of life. Perfect health, perfect wealth, perfect love, and perfect self-expression. That we vibrate at the highest level in order to reach our highest self and our highest work. That is exactly why I am looking in. I'm excited to share Nicole Renee Harris' story exactly because of these ideas. She never boasts, and it's rare for her to speak publicly about her life.
Strawberries. Sometimes you're bitter, sometimes you're sweet. I feel the same way about you and me, like strawberries.
Nicole Renee began performing as a child, was a radio and television personality in her early teens, hosting BET's Teen Summit and hosting and producing a radio show on Philadelphia's WDAS. She inked a $1 million recording contract with Atlantic Records at 17 and continued to read by writing hundreds of songs for major motion pictures and recording artists. She then returned to her Philadelphia roots and established a multi-million-dollar real estate company. She did all of this and still served her family and community. And sometimes she did it under life-threatening circumstances. Her father was a police chief who wasn't afraid to take down corruption, even at high levels. And he did.
That I wouldn't wake up and write a song. It's in me. Okay? So it's like I don't need anybody to validate what's in me. It's in me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just
And then, so I watch now the way we're in a paradigm shift with music. Same thing happened with BET and Video Soul when we used to have 3 network channels, and all of a sudden we have all this cable network that opened up everything for us.
Right.
So you were right there at that shift, that paradigm shift, and then you moved on through there, and now here you are now at a new shift and finding your way again and beginning again in music. So you didn't completely leave music. You just, like I said, you had a shift in perception. Now you're coming back and you've been studying, you've been writing, you've been doing everything, and now we're shifting. How do you feel about the way the industry is shifting now? Because it's so broad and so wide open, and it's kind of obscure. Nobody knows where we're going with it. How do you feel about that now?
I believe that you got to have fun.
Good for you.
With whatever it is that you do. I don't take myself so seriously.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's, oh my God.
Okay, it's
that's
not about me.
That's called wisdom.
Listen.
That's called wisdom, for
you
sure.
You can't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Okay, and I
love
do.
that you said that.
I do what I do because it's in me. So there would never be a day that I wouldn't wake up and write a song. It's in me. Okay, so it's like I don't need anybody to validate what's in me. It's in me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like growing up and, my mother being in real estate, my grandfather being in real estate, the fact that I could build houses, that was a natural fallback. My mother, now, even though I got that record deal, when I was 17 years old that summer, she made me go to this school called Poly Associates.
Wow.
Okay? And I wasn't 18, so you can't get your real estate license. But I had all the education.
Wow.
So when I came back to Philadelphia from so these are some of the projects that I worked on many moons ago. Let's see where it all started. Let's see the first one. I think the first one was Shantae Savage. She was on RCA. Then, oh wow. So then that's Anastasia. I actually did a duet with her on her Freakin' Nature album with Faith Evans. Stuart Little here. I did 2 on there. I wrote 2 on that soundtrack. This was a record from the late WDAS. He passed away a couple of years back. I actually sung and wrote a song on his personal business album. And here, this is another one of my early ones when I was a teenager. One of my placements. It was a little group called Illusions. They were a set of twins. It was really fun working with them. And let's see, up there, that was one of my very first ones. I was 17, I think it was. I worked with the Whitehead Brothers on their first album. Well, actually, their second album on Motown. And let's see here, Voices of Theory. I wrote a song with Michael McCary from Boyz II Men on that one of their singles. This is the Money Talk soundtrack that Deborah Cossack had. She covered that when I wrote. This was from Blue Streak. I did that. It was a song with Heavy D and Tyrese, and this was actually from the Sprung soundtrack. I did this with Praz and Wyclef on that soundtrack. And this actually, this is Ringo Starr. I was able to sing on that record on Ringo-Rama. That's some of the stuff that I've done. I just put different things on my wall.
The music originate? Like, where did that come from when you were that young?
I was in the church from a little girl.
So you're PK then or PK later?
No, well, I wasn't a PK then, but my mother went to church at Bethany Baptist Church in Chester, and she faithfully would take me to church. My father was not a minister until I was about 6 years old. Okay. And
so that's a PK. You can't 6 years old. That's a PK for sure.
Yeah. It was prior to my dad being saved. Actually, what really pushed my father to get this saved is because our lives were threatened. You know. So there's several articles that you can look up, and if you see my father, yes, that life was threatened since I was 2. Wow. Since I was a little girl. So when it gets like that, after a while, they make a threat. Oh, okay, we're gonna bomb the house. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. So I began to look at that a little differently.
Wow. And you were aware of that when you were that young? That you knew that your dad was powerful and also it was a threat?
Because you knew from the kids at school, they feared him. Wow. They feared him, and I feared what I thought he could do. Wow. You know what I mean? Although...
But that's powerful when your dad is the protector like that, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole different... Yeah. It's a whole different level, And there were different sides to him, of course, because, like I said, when I was little, he was... I mean, my dad used to party. He was the life of the party. We had the best parties when I was little.
So that's in your DNA, too. That's why it's so good, easy for you to just, turn on.
Dance. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love to dance and I love to sing. My dad loved music. So that was very much a part of our lives since the day I was born.
So you were singing in the church when you were young?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My first solo.
Was it his church or the church where your mom was?
No. My first solo was at, would have to be Bethany Baptist Church. Okay. I was about 3. I sang the song, I'm Going Up a Yonder.
No way.
When we find ourselves down in the valley, He will enable us to climb right back up the mountain. That if we just pray continually, when the clouds come forth and blot out the sun within our lives, He'll
transition into radio?
No, actually, that was just a blessing. So Teen Summit, I was already doing Teen Summit.
I thought you did the radio first.
No. Actually, I was 2 years on Teen Summit. And then, it was 1990. End of 1990, summer 1990, BET was supposed to come on location. So Lisa Johnson was from here, but Lisa was not available. So they had me come and host for their Unity Day, right not too far from where I stay now. Depends Landing there.
Wow.
And so I came and I did a little teen summit, and they had a program that was hosted by my good friend Akil Bashir.
Okay.
And so the Kearney Anderson and Butterball, who was renowned program director, God bless his soul, that's like a mentor in my heart. And Thea Martin Conley, she was the producer over all the format, the shows like this. And so they interviewed me and they let me be the co-host.
Wow. And
then that went from the co-host to being, the co-producer. Then the co-producer went to being the host. And then the next thing you know, you're not aged out of that, got a record deal.
Right.
So, and then I never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah, but WDAS was a great place for me. I learned.
That's really good.
I learned a lot, and there. What I do is I built, like right now I'm doing 3 things.
Okay.
I'm doing 3 projects at the same time.
Very good.
And, so I tend to keep it there because I'm doing the various other things. And then, I'm a caretaker. So I have to have, what's very key is balance.
Right.
You got to have balance, and I'm big on that.
Right.
You don't ever want to you'll age yourself out that way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very important to be able to take that time to get your hair done and get your face clean.
You always look great.
What I mean?
So
listen,
I don't know how you so you get up at 4 every morning, you study, then you go and you do your inventory, you get ready for the day's work, you get everything. If you need the sheetrock, if you need tile, if you need that, you get that ready for your project.
Right.
And then so then the day begins. You go and you go to every site, or are you on site all the time, every day?
I don't have to. I don't have to micromanage these men. I lay the law down. We know what we got to do. The time that we got to do. Because see, what I do is I'll combine a worker that used to come from the union, and then what I will do is then have them show ones that are not as skilled, but when you get done, you'll know just as much as they know, especially these younger people. Right. And it just, and that's what it's about. See, to me, I think one of the key to the thing is you can't ever stop learning. Right. I'm always in school for something. Yes. It's called continuing education. I still go to vocal lessons faithfully. Yes. I don't stop. Let's see, what I do is I'll combine a worker that used to come from the union. Hang it in, because I can't hang out. Hang it in. Love the Lord.
Yeah. But that God is never good. He's your shepherd. He's never let you lack.
Never.
And so I want to go to these stories because to me, the humility that you have, the service attitude that you have, the love that you have for people in your heart, but the great people that you've been around and the accolades that you have. So to be able to record with David Foster, he's one of my favorite of all time. And he has a personality of his own and his own kind of lifestyle. But then also to be able to work with Bobby Womack, he said that was he was close
Uncle
to
Bobby,
you.
man.
Uncle Bobby
lived around the corner.
Yeah. So all the greats.
Hello.
He
took me in as a little girl, and
I'm well. How are you?
And now it's hanging in because I can't hang out.
Well, you look like a king there.
Oh, baby, yes.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard so much about you. Wonderful things about you, Doctor.
Oh.
Dr. Daddy Love.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Crazy. Yes, that was the only thing I ever wanted to be. Decided at 14. So I thank God. So Daddy Love was the one, he introduced me to opera.
Wow.
Yeah, and so because of him, that's the reason why, I'm studying opera, and, he had me taking Berlitz courses and studying, so now I can, sing opera because of him. Yeah, he would sit at the lessons. He would sit at the lessons. Remember, Dad, you would take me to my vocal lessons. Oh yeah. He would travel. He would travel an hour with me. Look at Daddy Love outside. He
How
rode
funny.
He rode up in a limo. That's him.
Good for him. But of course. But of course.
But then when I went to Howard, I was pre-med.
Well, yes.
Yeah, so I was thankful, that I went to Penn for medical school, and there were 3 of us from Howard, and there were 8 students, 8 black, 1970.
Wow.
I'm old man, so
Troubles me the most as an African American is like when you're like right in that echelon where you want to do more for your people. See, I've always wanted to do more for my people. I never wanted to be the one that's living on the house on the hill and there and nobody else.
Right.
You got to eat at my table.
Yeah. So you're all about service.
Exactly. So for me, that's why, I took care of my Uncle Bill. It was my mother's brother. He had schizophrenia and dementia.
Wow.
And I moved him into my home. I took care of him. And, we had some interesting times. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I love that man, and I miss him every day.
And that's a blessing. That's
I miss him every
blessing.
day. And people are like, yeah, you must have a heart for taking care. I don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. Even my animals live long.
No, it's like service across. That's why I really wanted to talk to you first, because it's about service. It's about more. Because everybody's chasing that dream in the industry. And you had a lucrative deal and you kind of stepped away. But also you were still serving there. So I think
that's the thing, because, when you continually hone something, and you shouldn't, just because somebody else, people have all these idiosyncrasies, I feel, in life. And, you have to be in your own lane. You have to pray to God, have an internal relationship that is unstoppable, that no one can come between. He knows us better than anybody. Even if, you have children or a husband or a wife or whatever you choose, if you have a relationship with God, there's nothing that anybody can say to you that will permeate deeper than the Creator. Forget, I was on my way to go to more record company meetings at that time. I was like,
were you unsigned or signed?
I wasn't signed.
Okay.
About to get signed. Actually, my first record deal was not Atlantic. It actually was with this guy, Ed Eckstein, Billy Eckstein's son.
Yeah.
Oh man. Ed is he's wealth of knowledge. He's a great guy. It was unbelievable. 4 months with him, and then Mercury. Anyway, they made a different change, so I left there. But in the midst of all this, I had this superpower lawyer, she's still a lawyer, Denise Brown. She had set up all these meetings with all these different labels, and it was like 9 of them. So we literally had our pick of the litter.
And you were still a teenager then, right?
Oh yeah, 17.
Okay.
And so it was still a pick of the litter or whatever. And then Ed, I had a little demo. The opera I'm working on, I'm actually doing both simultaneously, because I am a person that I have to work on everything as I feel it.
Yes.
So I'm always working on something. Because I just have to do that. And I think that, I've been praying to God now. Actually, want a manager. I want a manager. Okay, so if you're listening, contact me. I want a manager.
A good manager. She wants a good manager.
Okay. I always wanted to do something, with my operatic ability, and my teachers like, you have to do this. So I'm in voice, and this is the time for you to do it. In classical, you ain't supposed to sing certain songs till you reach a certain age. And some of them I grew up with. They're about 10 years younger than me. James Dow Robinson, actually, he's a great drummer. He's been with some of the best. I've had Adam Blackstone on bass, and he's a wonderful musical director. Randy Bolin, guitar player. He has been a veteran, and he is still doing it very much so with everyone in the industry today. That's my heart. That's my baby.
Right.
So I just feel so blessed, because, it was a huge transition when you're working with some of these, iconic musicians, And then I'm like, hey, the relationship that I had with my mom was, I'm at a real estate office, collecting rent at the various properties that she owned. And I'm either, helping out or assisting. Something related to real estate is what it is, that was what we did. So God bless her.
Right.
Because she gave me that foundation. I always appreciated, my mom built every house that I lived in, and she used to have the raised wallpaper. And so I've always loved it. And I was like, pink? It's something feminine to add to the house. And plus I wanted to actually show them, even the reason why I started using wallpaper, a lot of my clients that are in the suburbs have bigger homes. They're obsessed with wallpaper. I need to show them that I can do it. So a lot of the different things are like a text of like what I can do, because we build and we do all kinds of decorative things. So it's fun. And plus I wanted to actually show them, even the reason why I started using wallpaper, a lot of my clients that are in the suburbs have bigger homes. They're obsessed with wallpaper. I need to show them that I can do it. So
you're coming from a childhood, being a musician, on the radio and on television early on, being so well at music, at the top of your career deciding you wanted just a change of perspective to serve people and to build. So how were you able to transition? How do you know all of these things about building? How have you been able to build such a successful company?
That part I can't take. When you come from a family, what people don't know is that, so my biological mother, her family, they're into real estate, always have been. My grandmother and my grandfather built their commercial businesses. He had about 13 auto shops. And, as a youngster, you work. So by the time I was like 15 years old, still had that property actually, my mother was like, okay, gave us $5 a week, had me, now mind you, I'm on Teen Summit, so this was a grounding experience for me. I'm on television, I'm getting A's in school, like I got a little bit of a name for myself. And Mom was like, no, you're going to the hood, it's a little free, but you did it, you know what I mean? And I was actually in Chester, one of the worst cities, quote unquote, that they say, for crime. I'm not afraid of it because I grew up there so it's one of those things where, she said, well, go ahead and, we went to Heckinger's. See, now it's Home Depot. It was Heckinger's back in my day. So we went, got a little loan, and she had to get out the cabinets. Roaches was running. Now I know it was asbestos tile and black and white checkers. There's asbestos in that stuff. So now, I don't even, we have to remediate that in a special way. But back then, I was just taking the scraper and just doing it.
Chester, so when you're doing that, and you're on BET, and you're on Teen Summit, in your neighborhood, so do they know who you were there?
Oh, yeah.
So did you have fans there, that you were just Nicole on the block?
Well, I've always been, I can't front, I've always been a little bit of a hermit.
Wow.
So I have my same friends from Chester. If I knew you then, I still know you. You know what I mean? So it was Elle, it was Ebony, it was Millie Mill. We're still friends.
Wow.
That ain't gonna never change.
That's beautiful.
So when you have a core, and it was a core of us, we'll always be together.
And they always encouraged you to do whatever you wanted to do.
Oh my
good.
Listen, I grew up, now some of my friends, let me tell you about Devin, Star Shooter. I say talented, they got their own brothers, seafood restaurant in Chester. Nice. They're rebuilding everything because they stayed there, and they're doing awesome things. My brother L does furniture like you never, I'm talking about top of the line. Custom woodwork. Never do it. For Cocaine Lane.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I wanted to sound like as if I was high. I've never been high before on anything but God. And the songs I say about God, believe it or not, if you listen to it and the lyrics.
So we're going to throw that in for sure.
And